So it looks like we're getting a new wave of Marvel Legends Retro Card X-Men action figures, but which of these are any good soulmates, and which of them are worth your money? Be sure you stick around until the end, guys, because we're going to talk about what X-Men characters we would like to see next. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. So this latest wave is one that I'm really torn on, guys, because some of the releases I feel are really good, and others I feel are, well, less so. The first action figure we're going to look at today is Longshot, and this one is more or less just a repaint of the one that was included in the Mojoworld box set, but that was still a pretty decent release, and honestly, this one that we're seeing here is even better, because on this one, they remembered the star-shaped scar over his left eye. When we look at this one, the sculpt on him is pretty decent. I mean, he's got a jacket with a zipper on it with all kinds of folds all over it going up and down the sleeves and his pants, and then of course he's got some boots that look like they're real worn in. They got his utility belt, they got a bandolier, they remembered to give him 3 fingers, which is nice, of course, that's appreciated. If I were to change anything on Longshot, I think what I would do is make his utility belt blue, because I feel like it would add a little bit more contrast between all the elements that are on him. Also, I might make his bandolier a lighter brown, and then I'd keep his man purse the same color, and I feel like all those colors would work really well together because it looked like at least one incarnation of Longshot that we've seen. While I'm thinking about it, another thing that would have been nice to see is that star-shaped scar. I wish that were sculpted on because, well, it is a scar, right? So it would just make sense that it would have some kind of imprint on his face there. But you know, I still really like this one, and I'm kind of thinking about getting it. The next action figure we're going to look at is the Multiple Man in his classic appearance, and this one comes with an extra set of hands as well as an extra head. I'm not really enamored with this action figure because I think that the way that it's been made here is really cheap looking, to be honest. I like the design of Multiple Man. I think that what they did with him by just painting all of his designs on makes him look really flat, because when I look at this costume design for this character, I think that there's a pretty big opening to include a lot of texture on his sculpt. And with all those bands and those circles, ooh, that would have made for a really cool tactile action figure. And when we look at the original costume design for Multiple Man, we see that they left out some paint apps on his costume. For instance, there should be another band and circle coming out from the bottom 2 circles on his torso. Also, there should be some bands and circles covering his cod piece there. And then they just didn't include any paint apps on his neck because he has another band and a couple of circles that are going around his neck. There's a bunch of things we could talk about here, but this is just a really lazy, low-effort release on Hasbro's part. The only thing I really like about this one are the head sculpts, and even then, I kind of only like the one that looks slightly angry or determined. The other head sculpt is kind of bland, and it doesn't really have a reason to be there. I don't know if I'm going to get this one, guys, but I do know that I don't want them all that badly. The next action figure we're going to look at, guys, is Wolverine in his training costume, and this is one of the ones that I actually like. This is not a look that we see on Wolverine all that often. This one is very accurate to what we see from the comics, down to the wristbands that go over his gauntlets. Accessories with this one include an extra head that looks very angry, as well as a set of extra hands, and these are still closed fists, and well, I kind of wish that maybe there was an open pair of hands, but you know, I'll take the extra hands even if they are closed fists, because hey, at least they've got those little bulbs on top of his hands, right? I kind of like this one. I don't know if I really need him though, because it's not my favorite costume for Wolverine, but I imagine there's some Wolverine fans out there who are absolutely ecstatic right now and can't wait to get it. The fourth action figure we're going to look at in this wave is Dark Phoenix. This one is something of a re-release slash redo of the Toys R Us version of Dark Phoenix. The key difference here being that it looks like she's using the Shriek body now, which honestly, is that any great surprise, because we're seeing a lot of really generic lady action figures on that Shriek Shriek body. And once again, we have elements here that could have used some sculpt. We have gloves that reach all the way up her arms, and where they meet the rest of her costume, they could have sculpted the ends of those on so it looked like they were a separate element from the rest of her costume, and they could have done the same thing with the tops of her boots. As it is, they're just flat against her body, and it kind of looks a little cheap. Even the Phoenix emblem that they put on her chest is just painted on too, and well, it's there, but is it really all that interesting? Not really. The thing that really gets me about this release is that we're getting less with this one than we did with the Toys R Us exclusive, because that Toys R Us exclusive had 2 extra heads, and we're not getting either of those here. Does a pair of fists really make up for that? Well, no, because obviously it's just not as appealing as getting an extra head. On the bright side, we're also getting this special effect that was also included with that Toys R Us package, but it still feels a little light on accessories for 25 bucks. Besides all that, another detail that's wrong on Phoenix here is that she's supposed to be wearing heels, but instead she's just got flat footwear, and well, that's just a byproduct of constantly recycling the same body mold for all the lady action figures. It's really unbelievable to me that they're so lazy they couldn't be bothered to give her heels. It's not like there are no action figures that have a pair of heels they could have recycled if they wanted to recycle something, you know? I really want to like this one, guys, because it's such a cool character, but I am just super underwhelmed. The 5th action figure we're going to look at is Avalanche, guys, and this is one that a lot of people have wanted for a while. Initially, I had a hard time putting my finger on why I don't like him, and I think I can articulate it now. It's because partially the mask rubs me the wrong way. There are some versions of Avalanche that have that mask where you see his eyes, but generally on a more classic look like we're seeing here, he looks a little bit better if we just have the white eyes on him. Seeing the eyes as they are, it just feels really wrong. And also, you know, with a guy like Avalanche, you know, his powers being what they are, we just get a pair of extra hands, and boy, that feels really, really underwhelming. Like, couldn't we have had a little something, some kind of special effect that makes it look like maybe he's just pounding the ground and then a bunch of rubble or energy is flying up where he struck? Another thing I really don't care for on this one is that blue, because I feel like the blue is not really working all that well with the silver color of his armor. I feel like maybe there should be a very grayed out color there, like a grayish purple maybe. That would look a little bit better, I think. Also, if you're going for a classic look on Avalanche, his helmet is kind of all the wrong shape on the bottom. It's much more rounded when we look at classic comic book panels. Also, did they have to give him Bucky Cap on the legs? Because it's really obvious it's Bucky Cap. I mean, we've gotten to a point on Marvel Legends that whenever they use Bucky Cap, it's really obvious now. And the Bucky Cap body was outdated 5 years ago, but here we are going on 10 years, and it seems like it was so good they want another 10. I don't know, guys, this Avalanche action figure just isn't all that great, and I think that they need to try him again, because this one misses the mark for me. And the last action figure we're going to look at today, guys, is Spiral. This one is the absolute best action figure in the entire wave. What does she come with? She comes with 6 different weapons. She comes with 2 extra hands. Now, this is a good release. This one, I look at the $25 price tag and I say to myself, alright, I can accept that if this is what we're gonna get, because it feels like they actually put some effort into this one. This is a huge improvement on the last Spiral action figure that came out way back in like, what, 2008 or something? It was a while ago. And this absolutely should have been part of the Mojoworld box set, but regardless, it's still nice to have her now in this retro card wave. But also when you look up close on Spiral, she's got all this wonderful texture all across that metal arm and the armor she's wearing on her bracelets and the shoulder pads and, well, her helmet. And then she's got the fur on her boots and stuff. And then you look at her costume, she's got little folds going up and down that make the costume look like it's lived in a little bit. And even there's some jewels at the top of her costume that are sculpted on. That's really nice. I think that this is an outrageously good Marvel Legends soulmates, and of all the ones that are in this wave, this is definitely one I would like to have. I think that she is a strong contender for one of the best Marvel Legends of 2023. I strongly recommend you check out Spiral, guys, because I think this is one I'm going to be checking out myself. Well, now that we've seen all these retro card releases now, guys, what character do we want to see next on the retro card? Well, personally, I would like to see a brand new Magneto, guys, because I feel like we haven't really gotten a good Magneto yet. If I could pick any version of Magneto to see, I think I would pick the version of Magneto from Uncanny X-Men number 200 when it was being drawn by John Romita Jr., because it's such an unusual costume and a fascinating one that I don't think has ever seen an action figure before, but it's kind of cheesy and it'd be fun to see in action figure form. Well, soulmates, what do you think of this X-Men Retro Wave? Is this one that you have to have for your collection? Are you not all that interested because maybe some of these are just not appealing characters or you don't like their designs? Or are you on the fence because maybe you like some but not others? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and be sure you let me know what X-Men characters you want to see next. If you want to learn more about the 90s animated VHS Cyclops, you can check out that video here, soulmates.